Signett's corner, beyond Bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises! It just had to be! Dack's corner and it goes, Glance towards goal! And Rovers have taken the lead! And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season. It may well be the goal that sends Rovers back into the Championship.
Good evening, Rovers fans, and finally, welcome to our edition of On the Other Side this very cold Friday night. I blame the weather for the hiccups, and my deepest apologies for Dave for keeping him on a string and keeping him from that red wine that I can see that he's drinking there. But we're here now. We're ready to talk to Dave from Beesotted on the other side and preview tomorrow's game. It was, of course, a last-gasp victory for Rovers at home to Millwall last time out, which made it 3 wins from 3 and 13 points from the last 15 available. So that sets up a really intriguing game against Brentford, who are on some similar form. So one that I'm looking forward to. As I say, I am delighted to be joined by Dave Lane from the Beesotted podcast and fanzine. How are you, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's not red wine. I'm not that pretentious.
It's not red wine. What is it? Show us what it is.
It's Jack Daniels and Coke. Actually.
Oh, it's JD. Sorry. It looked like a dark red wine. My apologies. You've gone up in my estimation. But before we start, Rovers fans, we are, of course, sponsored by 6yardsout.com. The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below. And thanks as ever to 6yardsout.com, where you can get your Rovers merchandise. I've got the home shirt mug this season, Dave. It's got beer in now because after the hiccups, I said, I'm going to the shop to get my beers. And then what do you know? The hiccups got solved as I was planning on sitting down and drinking said beers. So now the beer is in the mug. So all is good. Rovers fans, if you are watching, as ever, please do comment in the comments box for us if you want to interact with Dave and I tonight. And if you're not following us on Twitter, we are Rovers_chat. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rovers Chat, to stay up to date with all of our content, including the 12 days of Rovers Chat, which was under severe threat. We had 3 hours to get this video over the line to keep the 12 days of Rovers Chat going. But we're here now. So, Dave, let's kick off with the match preview then. It was nearly a perfect season for Brentford last season, I thought. You were the form team for a long time. You had plaudits all over the country. And a lot of people's favourites for promotion as well. A really heartbreaking end in the playoff final against Fulham, a local rival for you as well. We've started this season really well too. Do you get the sense that Brentford have just dusted themselves down, use that disappointment from last season, and you're ready to go again?
Yeah, a bit. It was a bit of an odd season last year. Before the actual lockdown, we just lost to Luton, and then we were going into we beat Sheffield Wednesday 5-0, and we were going into a local derby, ironically, with Fulham at the Cottage, and that was the night that the lockdown was announced. So it was the Friday night. We'd started early. We'd had half days, and we'd sort of met in our part of West London, and we were going to head slowly to Craven Cottage, and then we heard that the game was pulled. And then obviously we were all in the same boat, and then we were kind of starved of football. And then when it came back, Brentford were just on fire. That sort of that back-to-back wins. It was incredible. That doesn't really happen often in any club's kind of history. The Liverpools and the Man Cities and the Barcelonas, they do it. The absolute greats. But to get sort of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins on the trot, it doesn't really happen often at this level. So it was obviously we were kind of like we were expecting the wheels to fall off, but we lost a couple, and then we turned it around in the first leg of the first and second leg of the playoff semis against Swansea. And then it teed it up for that sort of like all or nothing game against Fulham. And I just wish it wasn't against them, because they're a hated West London rivals. But it probably would have gone to penalties if it hadn't been for that fluky goal. So you say about dusting ourselves off and going again. Yeah, I think there's a confidence in our stature now. We're an established Championship team. You say like we're almost like the darlings of Sky at the moment. Sky Sports Bees. We used to say Sky Sports Leeds, and now it's Sky Sports Bees. We're on every week at the moment, and no one's got a bad word to say about us. But we are, so far this season, I think we've been less exciting. To take Ben Rama and Watkins out of the team was a big ask to replace, 60 million quid's worth of talent, and to get the replacements, expecting them to fill the boots exactly. I think that was sort of too much to ask. So, like Rovers, we've had a solid start, and but no one wins the league in early December.
No, they don't. And you've just touched on what my next question was going to be, actually, Dave, which was, a lot was said last season about that BMW strike force of Ben Rama and Waymo and Watkins. And it was probably inevitable that you were going to lose at least one of them, particularly with that model that Brentford do so well with selling an asset and then investing that in the club. So you've lost Ben Rama and Watkins, and Ivan Toney has obviously come in and started this personal battle with Adam Armstrong for top goal scorer in the division. But we were able to use that money and strengthen across the squad and in other positions. I've not really picked that up. Can you just talk to us about what you invested the money in?
Well, we certainly haven't spent 60 million. I know, not that, I'm sure you are aware, people don't turn up with Brinks Matt lorries with pound notes in the back. You get that money over a period of time, So it's still, that money's owed to us, and we'll get it. We've bought in Godos he's a player that we tried to buy for bigger money this time last year, and we couldn't get that one across the line. It got a very complicated deal. He's a left-sided. Well, we're not quite sure what he is actually, but he's a supposedly left-sided, more central kind of can play up front, kind of utility player. Iranian, Swedish heritage. I think he's looked all right. He's certainly not Ben Rama.
Yeah.
But we've played Sergi Canos on the left side. He's a right-sided player, really. He's looked out of sorts over there. We've played Tariq Fosu in a more advanced role on the left. We've not. It's a huge ask to replace Sai Ben Rama. He's a kind of player I've not seen his like in my lifetime. I've supported Brentford for 40 odd years. More. So his ilk comes along once in my lifetime. To expect us to go out and get a carbon copy, forget. So we may never see another Sai Ben Rama. I'm not saying he is the Messiah, but he's he was able to kind of flip a game. So we're lacking a little bit of flair on the left and the right side. Brian Mbeumo, who's part of that BMW, he had a cracking season last year. Not quite on it. Great assists. He's set up quite a lot of goals. He's not off it, but he's not quite where he was. And he got COVID. He missed the first few games of the restart. So what the ramifications of that are, I'm not quite sure. But whether that's had any effect on his form, it's arguable. But I'd say that Ivan Toney and Marcus Force are the brightest stars of the early part of the season. We've got Rico Henry at left back. He's on worldy form. he's proving that he's too good for the Championship. So he's obviously on the radar. But we need to kind of really, if we are going to go up with this squad, and this kind of like replenish squad, I think we've probably got to do it this year if we're going to keep the other great players that we've got. But we're used to it now as Brentford fans. It happens every year. It's a perennial thing that happens. We have great players and people come and cherry pick, but fortunately we've got the resources and the kind of like, not necessarily financial resources, but the intellectual resources to go and find replacements. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we're finding that although we're probably weakened, we've solidified in certain positions. We're stronger defensively at the moment. Although we lost a few games, we lost three games. It's not a disaster. But if you listen to some Brentford fans, they're a bit tetchy. There's already been calls for the manager's head, according to some factions. I get, maybe I'm a bit long in the tooth now, but I think if you can't learn from every season, I've spent my adult life watching Brentford in the third and fourth tier of English football. To see us where we are now is kind of like everything I hoped for, and to see us competing in the top 10 and the top 6, and last year to finish third. I'm not saying I'm a defeatist. I'm not just happy to be here, but it's get things in perspective, and kind of we've got no right to be competing at the top. It's not our born right to be in that top 4 or 5. We're not Leeds fans. We don't demand that we're there. So I think a lot of the younger fans have kind of. It's not like an ageist thing. I think the last 10 or 11 years, it's been a non-stop. Very positive time to be a Brentford fan, and you get used to it, and you can't win every week, as you well know.
No, you can't. And we've had some comments coming in as you've been talking, Dave, and just things going through my head as well. So the thing you said about, the intellect at Brentford, I think absolutely I agree with that. When you think of the players that you've lost over the years, players like Andre Gray and other good squads that you've had as well. You've done really well when you've lost those players. Morpay's another one, isn't he? And then just a few comments that we've had from Rovers fans here. So Abby Sahar says, I feel like we are last season's Brentford and vice versa. And then possibly controversial, Rovers have a better squad than Brentford. But I think with both of those comments, it does feel like Rovers and Brentford are potentially in very similar positions of, if it's not this season, then the ramifications for the squad could be quite severe. Michael Pearson, unbeaten in 8 and calling for the manager. Brentford look hardly placed to me. And then I'm just going to address Dan Woods. I thought Ryan had forgotten to set a reminder. Absolutely not. I am refuting that one. Me and Dave have been sat patiently, and it was technology that failed us. So it was not me not setting a reminder. So Dave, I'm going to move on if we can then. To the game. Personally, I'm gutted. I can't be at your new stadium. So goodness knows what you're all thinking, although I think you're going, aren't you? There are going to be a few fans back at the Brentford Community Stadium for the first time on Saturday.
Sorry, New Griffin Park, please.
Oh, New Griffin Park. Okay.
No, it's the unofficial name. We need to give it some soul.
There we go, Rovers fans. New Griffin Park is what it's called. So there's going to be a few fans back at New Griffin Park for the first time on Saturday, but you didn't get the opportunity to say bye to Griffin Park, and not everyone's going to be there for the first time on Saturday. What's the views in the fan base just about what the situation is and who the lucky ones are, I guess?
Yeah, it's a toughie, to be honest. Not saying goodbye was tough. I think we kind of knew that there was a good chance that Sheffield Wednesday 5-0 win could be the last time. We knew. I think everyone could smell that we were heading towards lockdown at that stage. So no one could have forecast that it would have been this long before we could have got into the new stadium. So yeah, the first 2,000, I do feel blessed that I'm there. I'm there on because of my back-to-back season ticket purchases and my ticket access points. I've kind of only missed probably 15, 16 away games in the last 7 or 8 years. So, you if I wasn't there, it would have been a bit weird.
Yeah.
But you do feel for people that no one's being smug about it, and no one's kind of. I think none of us want to be attending football in these circumstances. To be honest with you, it's going to be odd. It's going to be weird. It's the first time I've gone anywhere near that stadium since it's been open, and it's going to be a bit alien to us, I think. 2,000 in a 17,500 stadium. When you're not used to the not used to your surroundings, I think it's going to be a bit strange. So I'm not sure there's any advantage or disadvantage by having home fans there. I think it's obviously an advantage. It's certainly not a disadvantage to us. I'm looking forward to it massively. It's going to be emotional. And what we're going to do tomorrow, there's a few of us. It's not organised because you can't organise these things at the moment. We're going to walk from our normal pub, which is quite close to Griffin Park. We're going to walk around Griffin Park, and then we're going to walk to the stadium. It's going to be kind of like, and there's no bagpipes, there's no brass bands or anything. We're just going to kind of like remember the old girl, say goodbye, walk to the new place, and then kind of like park it a bit. I think it's sad. Yeah, no, it's sad. If you left Ewood Park, it would be a terrible wrench for you, and then to then go to some place that you're supposed to feel at home in, it's kind of it's going to be a bit odd. So but not putting a negative on it, it's brilliant that we're edging back. Fans in football stadiums, football without fans is pretty awful.
Yeah.
So it's a big leap forward tomorrow. I just hope that it goes 2, 4, 6, 8, and we're where we need to be when the vaccine comes.
Get it there. Again, just a few things you've said, Dave. I think football without fans, absolutely. I think the last year has just been so terrible with fans being robbed of moments. So, I think of you guys leaving Griffin Park, whether you like them or hate them, Leeds getting promotion after all those years and not being able to celebrate it, Barrow getting promoted into the Football League, all these moments that fans get robbed of, and it's such a shame. And again, tomorrow, just 2,000 fans that are able to be there and enjoy that new stadium. It is a shame. Just in terms of the pubs, are you all going to still drink in the pubs at the old Griffin Park and then walk over to the new stadium, do you think, when that eventually is allowed and can happen the way it used to?
We're really lucky. I mean, it is a real blessing that the new Griffin Park is probably less than a mile from the old one. So there, as long as you're able-bodied and you can walk after 6 pints, then there's every chance that you can use your existing pubs and then go to the new stadium. And there are some really cracking old pubs near it's not an out of town retail park. It's not like you're going to Reading. It's not a soulless bowl like Shrewsbury. It is or Walsall. It's not one of those stadiums. It's new, it's modern, it's quirky, it's odd. It's like a stealth fighter stadium. It's got angles, it's odd. But that's what we want. We didn't want a shoebox. But there are some brilliant pubs all the way around it. Brentford's got more pubs than anywhere else in the world, I think. So, so when Rovers fans get a chance to come next season, you're going to have a great day like you did when you came to Griffin Park. I don't think that part of the day out's going to change too much, hopefully.
Lot of love for Griffin Park in the comments. Luke Kimberley visited Griffin Park for the 2-2 draw last season, a ground with real character. Matt Hornby loved the old stadium as an away fan, being on the terraces. Dan Woods, it's romantic. Michael Pearson, understanding social distances and restrictions. Crowds are all or nothing for me. Too many missing out on a momentous occasion. 2,000 doesn't seem enough for an atmosphere. And then Matt Hornby, I'm sure if I can remember, they had a pub on every corner of the ground. Yes, they did, Matt. I did that pub crawl on a couple of occasions. One time I was particularly drunk after doing that pub crawl, because you really have to neck your drinks to get round, don't you? So it's an interesting one. Any others there? No. So we're going to move on and just talk about the game in a bit more detail, or you'll start first, actually, Dave. So you started well, 7 wins, 5 draws, 3 defeats in 6th place. 1 point off the automatic places. Is the expectation now to stay in this kind of territory for the rest of the season?
Yeah. I mean, the expectation's high. I'm not knocking too hard the people that expect it to win every week, because I mean we should be fighting at that end of the table with this squad, absolutely. And if you get £60 million dropped into your bank account, then you should go out and buy players that can compete and succeed at this level. I think where we're placed at the moment suits us perfectly, if I'm honest with you. I don't think we're the kind of team that would be that comfortable by being way out at the top, 10 points clear, and everyone's shooting at us. I think we're quite happy to be the underdogs, just a little bit off the radar, knowing that we have got the legs, really, and that we don't like to use XG too much, but XG does point to the fact that we create a lot of high quality chances. And if you carry on doing that week in, week out, you're going to be up there at the end of the season. We proved that last year, proved it the year before. We've been proving it all the way through, to be honest with you. You play attacking, expansive football with quality players and strikers that can score goals, exactly like Rovers are at the moment. You're going to be there or thereabouts. You carry on doing the right things. It's the same in any walk of life. If you carry on doing positive, proactive, expansive things with your life, you ain't going to win everyone, and not everything's going to come off, but probably you're going to succeed. So it's the same with football, and it's exactly with football with attacking players that we've got and Rovers have got. That's why I'm looking forward to the game massively tomorrow. Probably going to be 0-0, but it probably won't be. It probably won't be. We're going to stretch each other tomorrow, and it's probably one of the best games of the season. It's the game of the championship this weekend, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. And we've covered XG a lot on the Rovers Chat channel as well. We've got a guy, Joe, who does Rovers analytics for us. He goes into some real detail about XG and other things, and Andy Watson as well, another one on our show. And I think we've upped all of our metrics this season in the same regard with the quality of chances that we've created. Obviously, we've had some big results this season. We've also had games where we've had a lot of good chances and not been clinical as well, Dave. So I think, again, it's another area where we're so similar as sides, aren't we? It does really set itself up for a fantastic game in that regard.
But that happens, you've got, none of us can go out and buy 10, 15 million pound players. So there's a certain amount of experimentation that has to go on. You've got the backbone. Both of us have got the backbone of an absolutely cracking team. But around that backbone, you're gonna have to experiment slightly. And none of us have got the luxury of buying that Man City squad or going out and buying that Liverpool squad. We're not there. But if you get your disciplines right, you've got a manager in Mowbray, and although Thomas Frank isn't a manager, he's a head coach. You've got the DOFs that kind of dictate the style of play, and he picks the teams and he coaches them within that. But it's an intelligent setup, and I'm glad Rovers are one of the teams with a bit of nous that have kind of caught up. Okay, we're not head and shoulders above everyone else. We've not actually got out of the division, so we can't preach. But it's teams and clubs using the resources to create an environment where there's great young talent coming through, really quality attacking football, and you're going to, if you carry on doing it year in, year out, you are going to go up. You you can't sort of spend that. You can't sell half your stadium like Derby or Sheffield Wednesday just to kind of pay the wages of players that really you shouldn't be buying. You know, it's a new way of surviving and thriving. And you know, I think if Rovers can get up, or you know, or stay up, or you know, or thrive at this level, you know, Rovers fans are going to be the winners, because you're going to be playing some brilliant football this season.
I think you're absolutely spot on, Dave. I think you've got the longevity off the field with the guys you said there, and the managers who come in and fit that. We've obviously got the longevity with Mowbray as a manager, who's now sorted all of that off the field stuff and really bringing those players through the academy, as you say. So, you know, fair play to both clubs. We are reaping the rewards of that now. But as you point out, we're both not out of this division yet, and there's still a long way to go. So hopefully we can do that this season. So if we move on to the game itself then, Dave, danger men, there's obviously a really obvious one in Ivan Toney. So if you want to talk about him, of course, please do. But who are the danger men going to be for Brentford tomorrow?
Yes, I mean, Ivan Toney's obviously the one that's getting all the headlines. But if you listen to what he says after the games, you know, he's quite humble. He obviously acknowledges the service. And, you know, I joke with Billy, who's the, you know, my co-editor on the podcast. You know, you put me or you, or, you know, or yourself, Ryan, in that Brentford team, we're going to be scoring 4 or 5 goals every season as non-professionals, because the service is that good. So, you know, when Ivan Toney was offered a chance to join Brentford, obviously he was hanging out, seeing what other offers were coming in, probably for his wages. But he probably pinched himself and thought, I can't lose here. It's a no-brainer. I can't not score 20 goals in this team. If someone saws one of my feet off, I'm still going to score 10 goals, because you know, he's going to score goal. Things are served up on a plate for him, but he's also got this really amazing ability to just get ahead of his man. He's an aggressive player, but he plays with humour. So he'll have a battle with a centre back, but he'll also be having a laugh with him at the same time. So I like Ivan Toney. We've got this philosophy at Brentford: no dickheads. The manager said it: no dickheads in the squad. And we do our due diligence on players, and we do not sign players that have got anything in their nature and their character that will hopefully cause us grief down the line. And we've done our research on him, and he's a nice bloke, and we're a team of nice blokes, but with an edge. And he'll go hopefully to the top again, and hopefully with us.
And just another similarity between the clubs, because Mowbray's done exactly the same with us. He's done his due diligence and he's put a real tight-knit squad together. You can tell they all like each other. You can tell they all like mixing with each other, and he's really built that, Mowbray. So just another area where we are so similar. Dave, I'm going to pick up a question here from Michael Pearson. Is there any homegrown academy stars coming through for you?
No. We got rid of our academy about 4 years ago. We had a really bad experience. We did have a really cracking academy, and we had 3 or 4 players that were coming through, and as soon as they were just about to make it to pro, Man City came in, Man United came in, and the manager, to his credit, the owner and the DOFs at the time, to their credit, they said, right, this model isn't working for us. So we're going to go to a B team setup. Sorry, you'll probably know the guy's name. I can't actually think of his name now. He's playing for Leeds. There's a young Leeds player that was playing for Man City. They just got him. He's playing for Leeds. He's on the bench.
Jack Harrison. No.
He'll come to me in a minute. But he was one of the players that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So yeah, Pervader, that's the one. He was one of the ones that, as I said, broke the camel's back. So we went away from the the academy. But if we get back to the top flight, we have to have one. So I think we've got the logistics sorted out. But obviously, at the moment, we're happy with the B team.
Yeah, and if you had an area of weakness for Rovers to exploit tomorrow, where's that going to be? Have you got any key injuries going into the game tomorrow? Where can we hurt you?
Not telling you. No. Not really, to be honest. I mean, like Pontus Jansson is kind of like a mercurial kind of rabble rouser. He may not. He's not 100% fit, I don't think, at the moment. But he's kind of got this kind of. He'll raise the spirit and he'll get everyone on it. And there's no massive weaknesses. I'd say. I think we're the manager, the head coach has got he's starting to experiment a little bit more. And where he was kind of quite set in his starting 11, he's a bit more mix and match. And I think now in December, with this ridiculous, we've got 10 games now.
Yeah, it's madness.
We've got the quarterfinals of the League Cup as well against Newcastle. We're going to have to kind of swap the team around. So I think the last few weeks he's shown that he will swap 3 out and bring 3 in. I think we'll go strong. Obviously, we're going to go strong tomorrow. No one's going to take Blackburn Rovers lightly tomorrow. So it will. We're going to be on it as much as we can be.
So you're fairly full strength tomorrow, then, are you?
I don't think there's any injuries. I mean, Dalsgaard didn't start on Tuesday. I don't think it's a long-term injury. Norsgaard, he's been out for a while now, but we've got Jan out, who's been deputising for him. Marcondes, Canos, and I honestly don't think we've got Jensen and Janssen. Jensen's right. We get a degree in Danish at the moment as with your season ticket. We've got we've got no suspensions, and I don't think we've got any injuries really, apart from the ones we already know about.
Putting the fear of God in me now, then, Dave. If you're, if that's how good you're doing.
We've also got this dynamic at the moment where there's a lot of people shouting that because Marcus Force is kind of like I'm not going to say forced his way in, it's too corny, but we've got Tony and Force that are both on incredible forms, goal scoring wise. Force for his country as well. He scored against France for Finland. And there's a lot of people saying that we should consider going 4-4-2 just to get them both in the team. But we've tried it a couple of times. It doesn't really. 4-4-2 isn't the way we play. And I personally don't want us to change the way we play just to get a goal scoring substitute in. It's better that it stays a goal scoring substitute than change the way that's got us to where we are. So. You probably will see Ivan Toney and Marcus Force at some stage tomorrow. Force may be out on the left. We played him there on Tuesday night in the win. So we'll see. I mean, winning up at Rotherham was a big deal for us. It's a nasty place for us to go because they try and spoil us. You're going to find this during the season that once you've got a name for yourself as being a ball playing creative team, the others are going to kind of try and knock you down and try and like stifle that. It's finding a way through. It's having that kind of like turbo boost button where you can kind of negate all the negative tactics and that sort of man marking and 17 behind the ball nonsense that we see.
We have had that a couple of times this season, particularly at home. Teams are coming and sitting back at Ewood Park, Cardiff, Middlesbrough. Well, Middlesbrough played probably.
Oh God, yeah, Middlesbrough. They've got Warnock there. So yeah, of course.
Nottingham Forest, another one as well.
Pulis, Rowett, and Warnock. They're the nemesis of any ball.
That's it. So you've mentioned this a little bit, just kind of as we've gone through the show, Dave. But what's your view on Rovers? How are we looking from the outside, and where do you think we're going to finish? What are your thoughts on Rovers?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, my thoughts are that you've obviously with Armstrong scoring goals, you've caught the eye. You've lost quite a lot of games already. You lost 5 games. That you can't lose a lot more than that and be automatic. So you need to sort that out, but that's not at the expense of starting to draw loads of games. It's about losing games isn't a problem. That don't get. My advice is, and it's my advice to Brentford fans and Rovers fans, don't get wrapped up in losing games. Losing games isn't that harmful if you're winning games. So if you win 3, lose 1, but don't draw. Drawing games is the killer. So yeah, get on winning runs, and then obviously, like everything happens, you lose a couple, then you regroup, go again. And I think it's honestly, if you know that your team's good and they're doing the right things, just kind of enjoy it, and just obviously you want them to win more and more, but don't get too aggy if they lose one now and again. I don't think 5 is an absolute. It's not a horror story, but you obviously need to be winning games. But there's lots of winnable games in this division if you're half decent. And it's working out how to deal with the Rotherhams and the Cardiffs, and it's those matches where if they turn you over after stifling you, you can have 20 shots on goal and their 1 goes in. The Birmingham City games, they just do your head in. So, competing at the top end of this division is just brilliant. It's the best, it's the best division in the world probably, and enjoy it.
No, absolutely. And just on that, Dave, like sometimes I do think, get promoted and then what? Go and make up the numbers in the Premier League? You're right. Like this division.
Sometimes,
this division is brilliant.
We were gutted that we didn't go up. Look, now we're laughing at Fulham losing every week. They'll win a few. Of course they will, but they're coming down again. And it's. I wouldn't have wanted to go. If you could have chosen a season to go up, it wouldn't have been this one. A season we couldn't have gone to.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you go up when the time's right.
Yeah. So I always like to do a link between the 2 clubs, Dave, on this show. We have got a huge link between Rovers and Brentford in your goalkeeper, David Raya, who's in his 2nd season with you now. The majority of our fans were really gutted to see him go, I think, and particularly with our goalkeeper situation last season, where we had a guy on loan who didn't turn it up for us, Christian Walton from Brighton. Firstly, and we've had a comment on this as well from Matt Hornby, what do you think of David Raya? And how does he compare to some of the previous keepers you've had? Because I look at players like Daniel Bentley, who is a really good, solid Championship keeper. So what's your overall thoughts on Raya?
He's Premier. He's brilliant. He's a sweeper keeper. He's probably as good on the field as he is in goal. His passing, I think, is exceptional. His reflex saves are just immense. He's probably an inch or 2 short. He's the best goalkeeper I've seen at Brentford for a long time. He's a big miss when he's not available. So I'd say that absolutely. I said during the week in our podcast, there's 5 or 6 players I say that are absolute first names on the team sheet. He's up there. Our reserve goalkeepers aren't fit to wipe his gloves.
Interesting you say about his passing. You know, Matt Hornby's picked this up as well. His passing didn't seem great at Rovers, must have had proper coaching. You know, there were times where Raya's distribution was a bit questionable for us. You know, I'm not surprised you picked out his shot stopping because he was an unbelievable shot stopper. I can remember so many saves that he made. But yeah, some of his passing at times just used to really drive us crazy. Do you think that's what your coaches, particularly your goalkeeping coaches, have focused on, and I guess what you do naturally at your club? It did seem like if he was going to leave Rovers for a championship club, Brentford seemed like a bit of a perfect fit in that regard.
Well, sometimes it's not him, you know. Sometimes it's the way you play, and sometimes it's the way the players in that team make themselves available for him. If he's forced to kick it long, then you know you've got more of a random 50-50 chance of it coming off. We've got Rico Henry and Dalsgaard, and we've got this way of playing. You know, maybe he needed that, and he's flourishing because of the way we play. If you put him in today's Rovers team, he might look 10 times better, you know, because it's a different setup, and there's different pressures and there's different demands of him, you know. So maybe you weren't quite through your evolution of playing it out from the back at that time, and we are very much set up to do exactly that. So you know, there's an F up in him every now and again, but you know, same with any goalkeeper.
And that's interesting you say that and what you've said there, because the first season that we had back in the Prem and his last season with us, we very much played with Danny Graham as the big man, Bradley Dack off him. And yeah, maybe at times we did go direct up to Danny Graham, and yeah, maybe that exposed that kicking, as you say. So that's an interesting observation there, Dave. Certainly, I think he would probably fare better in goal now because we are playing it out the back, and with the rule change as well, with being able to go into the area and stuff like that, it does help, doesn't it? So yeah, that's interesting. So Dave, we've reached the part of the show where it's prediction time, where I get to put you on the spot and then also myself on the spot. So I just want to understand and learn from you what your thoughts for the game are, how you think it's going to go, and ultimately what the score's going to be.
Well, we've both won our last 3 games. So the last 4 games are identical, yeah. So 3 straight wins and a draw off the back of that. So something's got to give. I'd love, you know, it's heart and head. So my heart says that we need, you know, my first game back at New Griffin Park is going to be a win. So I'll stick with that. So I'm going to go 3-2 to Brentford. But there's every chance that Rovers can come and turn us over tomorrow. You know, you're a good team. So I'm not taking it lightly, and this isn't a kind of bravado thing. So, but yeah, I think we can edge it. I think there's enough about us to kind of to push for a win. So that's where I'm going. 3-2 Bees.
3-2. Rovers fans, please do give us your predictions in the comments box whilst I'm thinking about mine. So I'm with you, Dave. There's kind of part of me that's saying we're going to cancel each other out and this is going to be low scoring, but then I just think no, it's not going to be like that. I'd love to say that we're going to win, but we're missing Ben Brereton tomorrow, and he's been a big part of our attacking side. And I just wonder if that's just a little piece of the jigsaw that stops a win, and it might just be a draw. I think I'm going to say 2-2. I think 2-2. I think that it could go either way, like 1 goal either way. But I just think there's something about us in attack tomorrow that, I don't know, without Brereton, might not just be what we want. So I'm saying 2-2.
Okay, well, yeah, it won't be the end of the world. I just hope Armstrong's as chaotic as you guys have been this evening.
Yeah, well, yeah, what an evening tonight, definitely. But no, it's certainly a game I think we'll go and attack, though, Dave. I really do. The last 2 results for us, we've not played great, but we've got 6 points, and it's really taken the pressure off this one, I think. So I think it is a game that Mowbray will go for, but whether both teams attacking each other weirdly cancels each other out, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But on the same token, that could easily be chaos, couldn't it?
It'll be great if we go toe to toe tomorrow and just like literally end to end. You know, it'd be a great game. And you know, sometimes that's what needs to happen. You know, let's try not to cancel each other out. Let's have a
Go for it.
proper game of football. Yeah.
I think it will be that. Rovers have enjoyed a lot of possession away from home in particular. And if you're going to just equally go for the game, I think it's set up to be a good game. And again, on our show, we've looked at stats and stuff. When we have less possession, we tend to fare better. So you are going to have more possession than most sides we've come up against this season, just with the way you play as well. So again, that could suit us. I think it could be a real ding-dong. But it's just that fear of that weirdly cancelling the game out, if that makes sense. There's just something in the back of my mind. But no, it's 2-2 is what I'm saying. So it's 2-2 from me, 3-2 to Brentford from Dave. We've had a few predictions coming in. We've got Abby Sahar, who says 4-1. Matt Hornby, 2-1 Brentford, but would take a draw now. Did I miss Mark Whittle's prediction? I've got both Tony and Armour to score. Is that 1-1, are you saying, Mark? I can't see your score on there. Michael Pearson, 1-1 and shake hands if offered to me now. Yeah, there is an element of that, isn't there? 2-1 Brentford. Okay, sorry, Mark. 2-1 Brentford, Mark's saying, with both Tony and Armour to score. So, yeah, they'll carry on their battle. So unless anyone squeezes in with a quick prediction, we are going to end it there, Dave. So I am very, very grateful for your patience tonight whilst we sorted out our technical problems. And I'm very pleased to see that you've got your Christmas tree up behind you as well.
Yeah, I've got the lights on now. Yeah.
But no, thanks ever so much. And
I'll put them on tomorrow after we win.
Really appreciate your time on Friday night. We've got a few more predictions coming in. 3-1 Rovers, Dolan and Armour twice. So we'll end on Luke Kimberley's prediction there. So yeah, thank you, Dave, for joining us. Rovers fans, if you are not following us on Twitter, it's Rovers_chat. And YouTube, we are Rovers Chat. So please subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with the 12 days of Rovers Chat. It's been day 4 today, day 5 tomorrow with our pre-match and post-match live streams. So Joe will be on presenting duties for the pre-match stream tomorrow. So join us at about 1:15 it will be. And then I'll be hosting the post-match stream, probably about 5 o'clock, 5:15. And we will dissect the game as we usually do. So we will end it there. Dave, have a good rest of your evening. Enjoy your first trip to the new Griffin Park tomorrow. I am very jealous of you going to a football game first and foremost, but you savour that moment, go into your new stadium and that walk around the old Griffin Park as well.
I think we're going to be recording video tomorrow, so there should be a kind of a video kind of experience at some stage that we'll post.
Nice.
And we'll share it with you guys. All of us singing. Is that all you take away?
No, honestly, absolute respect to you and hats off, and a nice touch being able to go around Griffin Park as well on your way up to the new Griffin Park. So that's spot on. So you enjoy it. You are the envy of many a football fan, especially in Blackburn in Tier 3 and where I am in Lincolnshire in Tier 3 also. We are very, very jealous of you. So you enjoy that. And just a quick question I saw. Are they serving beer there tomorrow? Someone asked a question earlier.
Oh, well, I used... I don't drink in the stadium. It's my rest. Like I drink before and after. So the hour and a half in between is recovery time.
Yeah, so probably not then. Brilliant. So we'll end it there, Dave. Thank you. Thanks, Rovers fans. And we will leave you with our sponsor's message from 6yardsout.com. See you later. The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.